That's right. We're going to do the matrix one. Okay, that is good, you all. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us again on Financial Fed Friday. It's actually Financial Fun Friday. A lot of you have reached out to us, and Rita, they're like, oh, I love Financial Fun Fridays. So guess what? We are Financial Fun Fridays, and we're going to have a whole new launch. But welcome. And this podcast is hosted by myself, Darlene Jenkins, and my co-host,
Dr. Rita B. Rowland.
Dr. Rita B. Rowland for sure. And it is sponsored and brought to you by Affordable Benefit Solutions Incorporated. So Financial Fun Fed Fridays. This is a webinar that we do on the first and third Friday of each month. It's broadcast at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And guess what? We're also broadcasting simultaneously on Facebook Live. Welcome everyone from Facebook. And what we do during this broadcast is we just pull back the curtains to give you an in-depth understanding of not only the benefits you have through your employer, but we also go over some of the best retirement investment options and just giving general information on the pulse of what's happening in the financial arena. Now, you can always register to be here on this live broadcast with Rita and myself. You can go to ritabRowlandEvents.com, or of course, you can like us on Facebook at Your AB Solutions. Please go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe there. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, please go ahead, give us a thumbs up and hit the like and subscribe button. So we appreciate you all for following us. The whole purpose of our Financial Fun Fed Friday series is we want to help you to understand not only the benefits that you have with your employer, but also just your money overall, your spending habits, your money personality, because guess what? Your money personality determines your spending habits. And then to tie it all in, of course, we are here to support and offer you solutions that will enable you to do what, Rita?
Reach your financial destination.
Exactly, because that's what we want for you. We want to be your guides to help you reach your financial destination. So before we jump into today's segment, I forgot to do something very important, Rita. Our check-in. Let us know where you are watching us from, because I can see on my Facebook, and some people have texted me, I see you checking in from the West Coast up there in Washington State. Thank you. You know, they're 3 hours behind. It's actually 7 a.m. there. So please, if you're on Facebook right now, if you're on here, let us know where you're watching us from, because we know you tune in from all over the country and we appreciate you. But before we get into today's topic, I do want to let you know that this broadcast is presented using a generic approach. And the reason we do that is because without having individual knowledge of everyone's situation that's watching us now or will watch us later on YouTube, we cannot individualize the presentation to fit your specific needs. But you know what we can do and what we will absolutely do? If you reach out to us at 301-577-6340 or email us at request@yourabsolutionsinc.com. Anything you see on here, anything that you want assistance with that we discuss or cover, you reach out to us at 301-577-6340, and we will absolutely customize and help you with the solutions that you see, the areas you want to address. So we'll do that. So please, with that in mind, just please accept this information as general in context and apply it where you feel it meets your individual needs. So thank you so much for understanding that. And we're going to just go ahead and press through, Rita.
Yeah, but we got people then checking in. We got Fort Washington in the house. We got Delaware in the house. We got Texas in the house. We got Bowie in the house. We got Upper Marlboro in the house. We got DC. Keep checking in. We see you. We see you.
Yes. And what about our Facebook followers?
Facebook's, they're a little quiet today. a couple, so they're a little quiet, but they from all over.
I know. Well, I shouted out my girl from Washington State. So thank you so much for joining us. Oh, I see Tennessee is in the house as well. Hello. Thank you so much for
Tennessee. You make me think of that song, Tennessee. Remember that song?
Yes, I do. I want to say it's the Fugees, but it is not the Fugees.
Please. We're going to have that all messed up. We got capital.
But I know the song. Thank you. But anyway, okay, so we're pushing on because that's my other career, singing, that I'm going to pursue later in life. So, of course, this year's theme, I just want to remind everyone that this year's theme is getting fiscally fit. That's with our money, fiscally fit. So staying in that realm of helping everyone to get fiscally fit, this month, today we're going to be talking about preparedness. September is National Preparedness Month. And because it is National Preparedness Month, we wanted to make sure we address that. And so today we're going to be talking about how to be prepared when the unexpected happens, because guess what? The unexpected always happens. And Rita, can you just tell us a little bit about, as we were talking about preparedness, you know, some of the things that you have been doing and have been thinking about?
Yes, I would tell everybody, thank you, is that I think it was right around the pandemic. God sent me a dream. He sent me a dream, and all I remember was he saying it 7-year famine. And so I was really, spooked out. Like I didn't really want to have that dream. And so I went to my pastor and I was like, this is what the Lord sent me. Now he has sent me preparedness in 2015 that I ignored. And I finally put the plan together, darling. It took me 2 years to put a financial plan and a preparedness plan. And I did it for my church, for my friends and my family. People asked me. And then January of this year, he sent it to me again, preparedness. And so I sent that out again. And what I did both times, everybody, and I'm going to apologize to you, I sent it to my little friends and my family. I didn't share with everyone. And so when the pandemic hit, a lot of my friends and family were prepared because I'd already told them what you need to do, how to prepare. And so when the Lord sent me that dream, I felt like it was now time for me to put something else together. So when I Am My Sister's Keeper, we did the exact same thing. We put together a real in-depth plan, which we can do some other stuff for you guys. So when you guys started reaching out to us about preparedness, I'm like, okay, God, you really want your people to be prepared. And being prepared, many people think it's just about having some food and water. But when you see those people who lost everything in their house from a hurricane, or it could be a fire, or somebody died of corona, preparedness is way bigger than just food and clothing. So we wanted to come to you because you guys have asked us questions. We want to make sure, will you be ready? And ready for an emergency, you can. And it's not so daunting like people think. And I'm not saying go hoard. Like I went to the store a few weeks ago. I was in a dollar store and I was looking for a few things. And I was going to see if they had some wax, because somebody said they had wax. And it was 24. They opened up one box, y'all. And this one lady came in. She took the whole box. Like everybody else in the store, nobody can get it. So when you start to prepare, think about this world. This is not about you. It's about other people. She hoarded everything that nobody else in the store could get. And the cashier was really upset. And the manager said, like, do you need all of them? And she asked her a question. She said, is there a limit? And the manager couldn't say no because I guess she didn't want to lose her job. But as we start to think about being prepared in advance, allow us not to hoard and not to be greedy and not to want to sell. Because at the end of the day, if you got something that somebody else don't have and you're not willing to share and really begin to share, people are going to take what you got. So in addition to food and all that other stuff, there's so many more things that we're going to talk about today. So darling, you can keep going. We need you to be prepared. And we can talk about your mind and your heart later, but here is really preparing for a natural disaster. And so there's some things you need to have. And when I say have these things, don't just have the original, make a copy, because sometimes things could be lost. And as much as we don't always really trust the internet sometime in the cloud. You may want to find a place or send an overnight. Let's say you live on the East Coast, you got family that live on the West Coast who you trust. You got to be able to have a copy of this somewhere. So you need some household identification. What type of ID? Your photo ID. It could be your driver's license. You don't drive, it could be a non-driver's license ID. Your children may have something. Maybe you just take a picture, put their name and their birthday so they know who they are. A birth certificate. Many people don't even know where their birth certificate is because you haven't used it in 30 years. You're like, where is that? Most time you only need it maybe for ID, you're getting your child in school, maybe if you're getting married, in retirement maybe, or death. So it's not a lot of times when you need that ID, and many people cannot find it. So I'm going to suggest you go look for it. If you don't see it, it's time for you to go to the city where you were born so that you can request a copy. Your social security card, that's important. And you need to make sure these things are in a secure place. Your military information, some of you were in the service, you only served 3 years, 4 years. You need that time to count. You now work a job, you can have access to things. Go find your DD, was it 240 or whatever that number is? Go get your paperwork, have it in a folder, and then make copies of all of this stuff. Your pet ID, you guys love them animals. I'm not mad at you. I don't have any, but you love them. So you need to be able to also have ID for them. And the purpose of this is just to prove who you are. Who are you? How do we know that that is you? And to maintain or reestablish contact with your family member. And so it's so much more than this. So when you think about a disaster, a hurricane, it may hit. So we do with our families that we have something where let's say we have family members down south who we say, this is who we call to let her know that all of us are safe. So you got to have a plan, not just for you, but for those that you love. Like, who do you call? So if you got West Coast family, you got East Coast, maybe somebody in the middle who everybody's called, and if the people in the middle, something happened there, you got to have a plan for all of this and maintain contact with your employer. So you need to just have all of this stuff. And guess what? If there's a disaster and your house is gone and you need to apply for assistance, they're going to ask you for some information. So when these things happen, make copies. Have a copy and wrap it up, and then put it in a plastic Ziploc bag, and then wrap it in some saran wrap because water can get to it. So you want to have copies. So when you got to go, when they say you got 10 hours to leave this town because a flood has come or hurricane, and you grabbing your bag, you can stick all of these important papers that you have in a little folder, whatever it is, you can just create. I don't care what it is. You can get this, you can label it, you can put, you just want to keep it. And you want your medical information. You want your physician, who is your primary care. You want copies of your health insurance card, your dental card, your vision card, and you want your immunization record. And why? Because you got to be able to provide your doctors with your health information and ensuring existing care continues, is not interrupted. You may have to leave your state and you got to go to another state where you got health insurance. It can go with you. You need to find out what doctors are in those areas. So the thing with most people, Darlene, and I know it's daunting, we don't really want to deal with this because this reminds us of something that's not good. It reminds us of a hard time. It reminds us of a flood. It reminds us of a hurricane. It reminds us of a coronavirus, and our family went in the hospital on Monday and they didn't come out on Wednesday. They're gone. But because they didn't know what to do, you're going to talk about more about even that. We have to be prepared. We can't be prepared after the fact. My dad used to always say, to come on time. He said to be early was to be on time. To be on time was to be late. And to be late was to have never shown up at all. My father was early for everything, and I got a habit from him of being early. The older I get, I'm getting a little bad. I'm getting a little worse. But, we want to be prepared people, and it's not about you being fear. And you know what? Later for all that, we got to grow up and we got to get prepared for what's important. And we can't wait till the last minute to do that. And so what are some of the other things?
And Rita, if I could just chime in real quick on that, Hurricane Laura just happened down in Louisiana, and those people from, I think it was Port Charles, Louisiana, and some other areas were displaced. Some of those people were put in the same hotel where my daughter is now staying with her college. And she was just saying how when, the people were upset, they're saying they don't have, there's nothing left. So if you don't have what Rita just went over already together, you don't know when disaster is going to strike. And that just hit me like we just went through this again with Hurricane Laura down in Louisiana in the Gulf states. So this is very important. Absolutely, Rita.
You know, when you just said that, we just came back. We drove. Oh, God bless us. He there and back. We drove to New Orleans just because we didn't want to be dealing with the airport and all that. And when we were there, we met some people that was on a conference. And one of the ladies that I met was affected by Hurricane Katrina, and she has a picture of her old house where the water was just basically up to, if you could see up top of my, you can't see it, but like maybe 3 inches from the top of her ceiling. And what she said was that was in '05, Darlene. She said
Yes.
she always prepared because she knew. So she was gone when it happened. And she said, it's things like that you got to always make sure you have insurance and that you have enough clothes. So she said she was so prepared that when it happened, she lost everything in her house, but she had already taken so much stuff. And that she said, because she still had insurance, because she was prepared for this. It took her 7 years to get back into her house by the time they had to condemn the house, build the house up, get the insurance money. And it's like her mother didn't get anything because her mother lived in the house was paid off, and the house was a duplex. So that's another thing. This is so important. She said her mother's house was a duplex when they first bought it, but they never used it as a duplex, but they never let the city know that the house was a residential property. So when FEMA came in and their house was destroyed because they had never changed it in the records, FEMA didn't give them any money because they said this was a rental property. Now it was not. That was their. At one point her sister lived upstairs. She lived downstairs. Her parents. They all live in the house separately, but in the house. So not only is it just that you got to make sure if you make changes and adjustment, you got to let the people who need to know that those. So she got money, she said, but her parents got nothing. And that the house actually, because they couldn't afford to rebuild it, the house was condemned. She said her and her sister tore the house down about 4 years ago and just sold the land because there was nothing they can get from it. So you imagine you work for a house 30, 40 years, pay it all, and then one swoop is gone. And because you didn't have the right paperwork, you can never rebuild your house.
And Rita, I just want to add, for those of us that are here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, no, we may not get hit by a hurricane, but we have had some serious derechos that have hit here. We've had power lines, trees to fall down on our house. So while we don't really have to worry about the big natural disasters such as flooding, there are flood prone areas, and it's good. You need to know if your area of the city, of the county, of the state is flood prone. And if you've been there long enough, you probably are already aware of that. So you have to, even though we don't get hit all the time with natural disasters, we have been hit. Remember Hurricane Ike? It didn't hit us here, but we got those lashes. We were in a derecho that tore up everything, tore up a lot of people's homes. So we, even here in this area, even though we're not directly, for those of us that are inland, especially in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, no, we're not on a body of water or very, very close to it, but we can still be affected. So we still need to be prepared.
And everything is not water. It could be fire. It could be an accident. It could be a gas explosion. Like it's so. And I think that's another thing. We're so looking at. Okay, what's normal is a hurricane. There's so many more disasters or things that could happen. You know, you got a candle and the candle fall over. It doesn't change. You know.
Or you're charging a cell phone with a lithium battery and then that catches on fire.
So it's just being prepared.
Yep, go ahead. I apologize.
Go ahead, because we don't want to keep them long. We promise y'all we're going to be on.
So the other information that you need to have on hand, you need to make sure all of your household contact information is available, that you have that somewhere. All of your bank, you know, where are you banking? Have all of your banking institutions listed out. what I did at the start of this pandemic is that I wrote down not only all of my banking information, I also wrote down, how to, I gave my daughter information on what to do if something were to happen to me. You do step 1, step 2, step 3. Login information, gave that to her. Who is, write down who is your insurance agent. Go ahead right now, write down Rita Bailey Rowland and Darlene Jenkins, Robert Bailey, Javon Walker, whomever your agent is. You want to make sure your family is aware of who they need to contact, which would be your Financial Fed Friday team or one of our team members at Affordable Benefit Solutions. Also, who are your healthcare professionals? As Rita said, your medical information. You want to have that, your service providers. Who is doing your lawn, who is cleaning your home, who is giving you or your child services. So you want to make sure you have that down. And the whole reason you want to do that is to provide contact information for actions to start recovery, if whether it's a natural or medical or something physical has just happened. And when you're contacting the utilities, especially as it relates to outages in your area, you want to already know where that is and have it in a central location, and make sure people outside of your household know where to go to look to get this information as well. Now, these are things, the legal and financial documentation is so very paramount to any situation. And these are the documents that you need to have. What are your housing payments? Do you keep at least, and if you don't have it in paper, as Rita said, you need to have it in the cloud. You need to have it electronic. You can't count on, I'm going to go back to my mortgage holder. All of this hacking, what if their site goes down? What if someone hacks them and holds them ransom? And it's been a natural disaster or something has happened to you, now you're in flux. So you need to have your own information backed up somewhere on a physical hard drive. As Rita said, mail it to someone, but you want to have copies of your mortgage payments, your insurance policies. Okay, you need to have your insurance policies. If it's just the policy number, the face amount, and who the agent is and the company. Write that down somewhere. Your sources of income. How are you making money? A lot of people now, they are independent contractors. We're becoming more self-employed. This pandemic has caused people to be more creative, but people still need to know, how are you making money? Are you freelancing? You need to indicate that. I'm doing Uber. I have my flower business. You need to document all of that. Also, your tax statements. You need to have a copy of your tax statements, and why. You have to be able to identify your financial obligations. If something happens to you, we had a family member, and I just recently had a very close personal friend lose someone to the COVID. They literally went in the hospital on Friday, and then Monday they were deceased, as Rita said, from the COVID. And now they have to go back and get her affairs in order. And what is that going to entail? Going through the bank statement if they don't know what she has. If no one knows what she has, that is what's going to have to happen. You're going to be digging, and benefits are often lost, right, Rita? Because people don't know everything. So we have to be able to write that down. If something natural happens, you have to be able to reestablish your financial accounts and prove that you actually have it. Even though something is going on, if you go in the hospital, if I go in the hospital, whether it's from an illness or from this pandemic, my bills still have to be paid. Or guess what? They coming after me, whether I'm alive or deceased. So you have to still be able to maintain your payments, and someone has to know what to do. That's why it's important to write that down, and then just to provide contact information if you need legal or financial services. Now, these are some big ones: your POAs, your power of attorneys, your power of attorney for healthcare. If something happens to you, who is in charge of making the decisions for you if you cannot? Now, a lot of people feel, this is a big dynamic oftentimes, sometimes with married couples, Rita, who have children, maybe not from the marriage. A lot of people think, well, this is my mother or this is my father, and I'm going to make the decision for them. No, you're not, especially if you're married. It needs, to avoid and alleviate all of that confusion, you need to have a healthcare directive, a healthcare power of attorney. And this is the big one. Who is your durable financial power of attorney? This is the person who makes the decisions about who is going to handle your financial responsibilities, such as paying your bills, just filing your taxes. This is very important. When my mom started really getting ill, and I was her durable power of attorney, and you have to make sure you know which power of attorney to get, because some of the all power attorneys are not the same. There are some that will allow you to make the decisions even while the person is ill. Then there are some that once the person can no longer really make the decisions for themselves, guess what? The power of attorney is, null and void. So you have to make sure you're getting the correct power of attorney, and be careful who you list as your financial power of attorney, because again, this person has the right to make decisions for you. Then you need your legacy documents. This goes back to your insurance papers, because if something happens to you, who's getting what, when, how much? That's going to be very important. How are you going to pass on your estate if you pass away? Whether it's planned, meaning you've been suffering from an illness and eventually we're going to go ahead and cross on to the great by and by, or it happens suddenly. Suddenly. Do you have a will? Do you know what that means? Probate. Do you have a trust? Who's your trustee? How are you going to get your assets most tax efficiently to your beneficiaries? And you have to make sure that all of these things are in order. I'm dealing with some of this right now in my family. I have a family member who I am now her power of attorney, because we are starting to see some things taking place with them that in a little bit, they're not going to be able to make decisions for themselves because they won't be able to. So we have to be prepared. Rita, you want to add anything?
Yeah, it's a lot. So I'm going to try to narrow it down. The first thing we talk about the insurance policies. Please let someone know where they are, because I have clients call me all the time, Rita, how will I know if my mother, my brother, my sister had insurance? Now, if they still paying for it, one of the easiest ways to look is look in their bills or look on their bank statement to see if it's an automatic draft. Now, it got to be somebody in your family who you love and trust that you don't think gonna kill you for your money. You got to tell somebody where your information is, because how else will know? It may be a friend, but it's important that you do that. The other part on, you said the sources of income. When the PPP came, there's a lot of self-employed people didn't get money. One, because everybody trying to not give Uncle Sam no tax money, so you want to claim the least amount of stuff and you don't make no money. But when it came down to get some resources, you couldn't get it because you have no way to track your money. So you want to every quarter maybe file a quarterly statement, keep your stuff on an Excel spreadsheet, get QuickBooks. We have other software that we can offer you. You want to make sure that you can have track that I really did make money last year, because some people couldn't prove that they made money, so therefore they couldn't get any money. The other thing is that you got to make sure that your durable power of attorney, see, you may have a different person for your health care than your financial. So don't have just one door, because guess what? I love my sister Renee, and if she watching, what she could be, she loves me too much. I don't want to be on a machine for 1,200 days. She's going to have me on a machine for 1,200 days. So I don't have her in charge of my health, but I may have her in charge of my money. So you got to know that there are some people who you love. They may be good with your health and making those decisions, but they love you, but they don't take care of the money. So you may not want the exact same person for both when you think about a durable power of attorney. And the last thing, if you're married, please, the spouse that's not that engaged, get them engaged enough to know what's going on. I was away last year at a retreat, and I was talking to a lady, she was like 73, Jenkins, and she said her husband does everything. She don't know about no retirement. She don't know about no money. She don't know where the accounts are. And I'm like, I don't mean to be hard at all. I hope I don't come off wrong. I said, but ma'am, you at the end of your third quarter of life. I think it's time for you to figure out where it is. Both you and your husband are there. Like life for you, you done live 10. So you got to know something. She was like, you know, it wasn't until you started talking to us about financial stuff that I even had the inkling that I didn't know nothing. Like, I knew I didn't know anything, but I wasn't realizing that at this age, if something happened to my husband, she said, I would be lost. So if you're married and you're one person who do everything, it's okay. But me and Bernard talk about, okay, every month we got a day where we kind of talk about what's going on. You need to know, even if I'm the one doing everything, how will you know if something happened to you? And I'm gonna tell you what scared him. When I said, okay, you keep not wanting to pay attention. When my sister and brother and my friend, they come in here and get all the money, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm like, well, you don't know nothing. You got real, like, let me pay attention. So there's ways to get the people you want because somebody else can come in. So just don't take this for granted. And this, guess what, y'all? It ain't even about just a disaster. You know, I had a client who had prostate cancer. He didn't know he had it. And within like 2 to 3 weeks, he was gone. And even if he was conscious the first 2 weeks, that third week, he was so weak, he couldn't even do anything. And sometimes 3 weeks ain't enough to get everything in order. And so you want to make sure that you are paying attention because these things are real. Okay?
Real, very real. So please just remember, this is so important. When disaster strikes, the time to prepare has passed. And that's a quote from Mr. Stephen Cryos. But that's often what we do. We become what, reader? Reactionary instead of proactive. So you don't want to react, you want to be proactive. Because if you fail to prepare, then you're preparing to fail.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So as we always say, planning is just bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it right now. Rita and I have gone over concrete steps that you can take right now. If you need help getting any of these things together, reach out to us. You can call us at 301-577-6340 so we can start helping you put a preparedness plan together. We've gone out into the future, and now we're back here today. Let's do something about it. So we at Affordable Benefit Solutions, we are a full-service financial solutions firm. You need it, we have it. We help you with your retirement planning. Whether you're just getting started or you are 3 days from walking out the door, we can help you. We show you how to learn concepts about tax-free retirement planning, how to be your own banker, what to do with all of the money you have accumulated. How do you turn that lump sum of money into a paycheck that you'll never outlive? Estate planning, so that you can most tax efficiently and effectively get your assets, the things you have worked hard for that you want to pass on to the next generation, to your family in the most tax efficient way. Also, our insurance services, we handle everything. Rita and I often say, GoFundMe is not an insurance plan. Things come up. But when you know ahead of time, it doesn't take anything to get a $10,000 policy. You can get buried for that. Give us a call. If you know you have family members that are not going to do anything, it may cost you $10, $20, $30, depending on their age. Give us a call. Let's get at least a burial policy on people. Not only that, we help with disability income. That's your paycheck protection. You get sick or hurt and can't work. You worrying about getting all of these things. If something happens to your income, how you going to pay for all the stuff that you wanted to get? Long-term care, protecting your retirement income. You work, you accumulate it, and now something befalls you in retirement. All of that income that you have accumulated is gone. I know I've shared my story many times about what happened, with my mom. She had to end up declaring bankruptcy because of long-term care needs. Also,
I'm just going to, excuse me, I'm just jumping in on that one because so many people feel like they got enough money. So I had a client, she said, Rita, I got over $500,000. I don't need long-term care. And when we looked at what the average long-term care, she's in the DC area, a decent room. She wanted to be a clean place, not a place when you hit the door, you smell it, not that place. The place that you feel comfortable in living. It was like $8,000. In order for her to have $8,000 a month, that's $96,000 a year. She would have to cash out her retirement about $125 to net that after taxes because she has qualified money. I said, you got 4 years. I said, so what took you 35 years to grow and to reach a $500,000 that you're proud of, if you need care, it's wiped out in 4 years simply because you don't want to put a plan in place to protect the $500,000. So sometimes it's just sitting down with people and making sure you have a clear, because sometimes what's in our head is not really what it is. And sometimes you need professional. It's like, I'm not a doctor. I feel something on this shoulder. What I think it is my torn rotator cuff acting up. But I'm not a doctor. So I have an appointment to go check with the expert who can really tell me what this is. So sometimes it's us even believing what you think you have, maybe sitting down with an expert to help you make sure that what you think actually is. And sometimes there's a disconnect from our thinking and what we believe to what is.
Absolutely. And Rita, this is just so it's a really hot button and a soft spot for me, because I see friends, family, just people, and I know you're thinking like, oh, in your head, you're thinking, I have this person, that person, they're going to rally, and take care of me. You need to talk to them about that. Bring it up. Let them know, because trust me, that's not in their head. And they're not planning on that. Not physically or monetarily, because it takes money. So you need to start having some discussions with some of the people that you have identified that will be taking care of you, but they don't know they've been identified. Right. So please, and if you need help even having those conversations, Rita and we are here, your Affordable Benefit Solutions team members. We are here to help you. We know how to facilitate those conversations. And more importantly, we have the financial solutions to put in place that will help you and your family. Call us at 301-577-6340.
You know what, Jenkins, I'm going to say one last thing, because you guys know who were the ones that know me. Y'all know I love numbers. I'm a math freak, okay? And
she's a computer. She's not a math freak. She's a walking, talking calculator. She is.
So I looked at long-term care back when we first started doing this about 15, 16 years ago. And I looked at my parents. Both my biological mother and dad were deceased. My mother died at 34 of colon cancer. So death for me doesn't have an age, okay? My father died of cancer. But then I had my aunt and uncle who helped raise me. And I started looking at them. If something were to happen to them, could I afford to stop working to take care of them? And did I want to take my money to do it? And so I got a long-term care for my aunt. My uncle, at his situation at that time, we couldn't do it. So what I paid for the last 15 years, I paid about $3,600, about $200 a month average for her care. Now, some people say that's a lot of money. I don't want to pay that. But what I paid for these 15 years, Darlene, is about $36,000, right? If she was to get care based on her inflation rider, I would get that back in 7 months. So what took me 15 years to pay, I'll recoup that in 7 months. Let's just go out. She don't need it for another 15 years. I would take 30 years to pay. Within about a year and a half, I would have gotten back every money I paid, and no matter how long she lived or what the care is. So when you think about money, sometimes we think of it from a very narrow perspective, when we really got to begin to look at things from a different perspective. And that is the key for most of us, seeing it from a different perspective, because it's going to cost you. And you got to determine which cost you want. Do I want the $200 a month cost, or do I want the cost where it may cost me $8,000 a month or $5,000 a month, or like what Darlene went through, sacrifice her own life, her own retirement, her child's education to take care of her mother because she loved her mother and she wouldn't have done it any differently. But had a different plan been in place, would you not have taken it? Absolutely. So we're really looking at this thing properly and having people in your place. And I tell people sometimes what we want, Darlene, is the Rolls Royce. But what our pocketbook said that all we can get is the Ford Escort. I'd rather have a Ford Escort when it's time for me to go somewhere. So at least I know I got something to get me to my destination as opposed to nothing. And so I think therein lies the problem. You want $1 million policy, well, boo, it only costs $15,000 to bury. Let's just go with what you need, and then we'll work on what you want.
Exactly. You want to be riding or walking.
Or somebody trying to drag you.
Exactly. And are their pockets prepared to drag you? When you just said that $36,000, you know, Rita, coming out of my pocket for 2 years, I paid 24,000.
See, here we go. Here's the math, girl, y'all. I know we're going a little long. That's what she paid out her pocket. But what she paid out of her time, and because she couldn't work, out of her retirement, see, that cost is way higher than what she physically took out of her bank account. And therein lies the issue. We're seeing the cost. Even my partner here, because she loved her mother, she missed how much she lost of herself because she didn't have a plan, because her mother refused to do it. So sometimes we got to step in and do what our family and friends not willing to do because we see it. Sometimes we got to do stuff until they see it. We got to step in and be what they are not ready to be or can afford to be at the moment. I realized my aunt couldn't afford that at that time, but I was willing to do it because I didn't want to put that pressure on someone else. And more importantly, when they need something, when it's right at that time, who can do it? Money is the answer. Having those protection plans is the answer.
And it's going to cost. And as Rita just said, and you know, I'm sorry, because this is just.
It's okay. It's real. It's real. Is this what she's experiencing, what she's feeling now? To have to miss a loved one, but then have to remember everything else is emotional already. But to layer it with these things that are not in place, man, you can't even feel the right way because you got worry on your mind. It's too much. And guess what? Caregivers, when you don't have a plan in place, when somebody got to care for you, it took a toll on her own health. It's not just money. Being prepared is so deep and it's so layered with so much more. Like burying somebody, you know, people, I had a client who was out of the grave for 6 months, not him, but his brother, because he had no insurance, but the family didn't have no money. They cremated people not because they wanted to, because that was the cheapest way. It's so much, you guys. We're not saying this because y'all know what we do. But what we do is so important to help people change their lives. But if you're not ready, we got to be ready to make some changes so that we can make these right decisions. What's right for you is we going to click on, because I know she's in the place. What's right for you? It depends. Not everybody listening to us, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're here with us on Zoom. Maybe what's right for me and Darlene different. She got one child. I got 8 stepkids. I'm married. She's not. So we got different ways to plan just for us too. My sister, she's an only child. I got multiple siblings. But guess what? There's a plan for all of us. It may be different for each of us, but there is a plan. And what's right for you, you got to make a decision to do it. So please reach out to us. Contact us today if you're looking for a strategy. That's our job, is to help you take your situation, put it into a place that we can help you reach your financial destination. And you may be able to contact us at 9500 Medical Center Drive, Suite 230C, Largo, Maryland. That is our physical address. Please make sure you call us first, 301-577-6340, because we're not always there. We're still working. We're back to work, but we're not always in the office. So we do a lot of stuff from home as well. And our website is yourabsolutionsinc.com. For those that are listening on the phone and cannot see the screen, it is www.yourabsolutionsinc.com, yourabsolutionsinc.com. And you may email us at yourabsolutionsinc.com. So we thank you so very much for taking your time today. I know we went longer because being prepared is critical. And as we just said, the time to be prepared is not when we need it. Let's be proactive, y'all, because reactive not only hurts you, it hurts all those that are affected by it. And so we thank you for taking time. We're so glad to be back today. Darlene, we thank you though for being able to be vulnerable to share your story, because sometimes people don't always want to share the truth. So thank you for being open to want to share the truth, because the truth will help set us all free. And we don't have to just experience everything that somebody else, we can truly live vicariously through somebody else's experience and make a decision to do something different. So thank you for not being a great partner, but just really sometimes, you guys, we got to be real, and sometimes being vulnerable and letting the world know, like, this is the truth. And so people may make a different decision because of that. So thank you very much. And we thank you guys. It's Friday. I want y'all to have a great time this weekend. Don't eat too much on Labor Day. Don't be all out with people with your masks on. We got to be safe because we need to be around to enjoy this life, because there is something on the other side of this. And we thank God that he's going to prevail in it all, right? Amen.
Amen.
As my pastor always says, walls, lights, actions, and everything.
If you want to reach out to us, Robert, our office manager, our online Facebook host, helping us out, you can reach us. You know, he's there in the office. And so just please, thank you all so much. We'll see you on the third Friday. Bring someone with you. Please share this. You know, if you're watching us on Facebook, share it on your Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, and, you know, recommend this to someone else. And if you're on Facebook, head over to our YouTube channel, please, and subscribe and follow us there. Rita and I this year, at the last quarter of this year right now, we're going to be posting different content on our YouTube channel. So you want to make sure you subscribe there. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here live on the broadcast. We really appreciate you being here. Vicky, thank you so much. Diane, Dwayne, Joyce, Lloyd, welcome. Sheridan, hey, thank you all. These are some of our loyal followers. We appreciate you being on. Tawana, we see you on Facebook. Thank you so much. Wanda Killingsworth. We had a lot of people on Facebook watching. We love you all so much, and we appreciate the support. And now share us to the wheel, to the wheel and to the world.
The other thing too, that you guys pay attention to our site, because we're going to have some workshops coming up on a lot of different topics. So make sure you check out our site or our Facebook page, because we're going to start doing some workshops for this last quarter so we can get us all back on point. We know COVID kind of took us out. It's time for us to get back on point. So just pay attention and we'll be here. So thank you guys. I need another cup of my Java. So if you don't have your Fair Friday swagger, let us know. We got mugs, we got notebooks for sale, we got a little swag bag, because you need to be ready, better take some notes and have some good old, I drink coffee, Darlene drink tea, somebody drink whatever. Just have your mug and let's rock and roll. Peace out. Thank you. This, you know, Kelly's on the one who makes these beautiful sister locks. Yes. Hey, Kelly. Thank you, Paulette. Bye, everybody.